As I do with all of my phone reviews, let me give a disclaimer. I use this as my daily driver for 6 days. The full written review was done by Brandon Russell. He used it for 5 days. Check that out if you want more photo galleries, a little bit more in depth than what you'll see in the video. Before I get into everything about the phone, the specs, and the screen, the OS, let's first talk about call quality, because at least for me, that's the most important with any new phone. Call quality was pretty awesome. Now, like any modern phone, I didn't have any dropped calls at all. At least in Southern California, it's a little bit subjective. We're blanketed by Verizon LTE. Everything on the phone was absolutely awesome when it came to call quality. No white noise, no popping, couldn't tell I was on a cell phone at all. So for me, the big monkey in the room is Windows Phone 8.1. We should see it released pretty soon, and allegedly, it'll be making its way to all Lumia devices. But we can't review a device based on what it might have, so if and when the icon does get the update, we'll update this review. So if you're a new follower or someone new watching the videos, you might not know, but I've been a big Windows Phone fan from day one. In fact, I've switched to Windows Phone as my daily permanent driver twice now. First with the HTC Titan, and later with the Lumia 1520. I lasted for about 3 months each with both. So I know the OS inside and out, and I still think it's one of the most elegant systems out there, even without notable 8.1 additions like a virtual assistant, awesomely called Cortana, and a real notification center. Brandon, who wrote the written review, differs when it comes to the aesthetics of the device. For him, it looked just like another Lumia, which translates to a high-quality phone. But for me, it's definitely identifiable as a Lumia, but it feels tremendous and beautiful in the hand. The aluminum band has that cold industrial feeling I love that I found on the iPhone 5 and the iPhone 5S and the HTC One. The physical buttons are crafted so brilliantly, and that's really where Nokia shines hardware-wise. It's the little things. The icon is the flagship of the current Lumia line, regardless of a pure view camera. Microsoft can run all the product placement ads on TV it wants. If you watch Arrow, it's freaking everywhere. But the harsh reality is that a device like the icon probably isn't going to suddenly push Windows Phone into new territory. It'll probably satisfy longtime Windows Phone fans, but will an Android user benefit from switching over? That's really a tough argument to make. Neither Microsoft or Nokia has figured out how to convince a significant number of people just yet. With handsets like the Galaxy S5 and the upcoming HTC One, it's only going to get harder. One of the weakest parts of the old Windows Phone devices is now its strongest, the screen. And the screen on the icon looks awesome. It's true 1080 at 1920 by 1080 and handles bright light and harsh angles probably better than anything else I've ever seen. Of course, you'll be able to browse websites, send messages, and look at pictures with the sun bearing down without a problem. Although it's not like you'd expect to comfortably watch your favorite episode of The Walking Dead at the beach. Save that stuff for inside and have pretty reasonable expectations. On the inside, the icon has specs indicative of today's market. Snapdragon 800 chip, 2 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs of internal storage, NFC, Bluetooth 4.0, the usual high-end affair you see throughout most of the market. There's also a pretty nice size 2420 mAh battery with Qi wireless charging, Windows Phone 8 GDR3, Nokia Lumia Black update, and a 20 megapixel pure view camera with optical image stabilization. With a 5-inch 1080p OLED screen, the icon's a little thicker than most handsets at 9.9 millimeters, but it does sport the sturdy polycarbonate shell that Lumia users are absolutely going to love. It's not overly unwieldy, but certainly not the thinnest handset out on the market. So what are all those specs combined? What's the overall experience? They combine to make a really snappy, enjoyable time, one that's really typical of the Windows Phone ecosystem. Microsoft's OS has never really needed the latest specs to offer a smooth experience, but the icon certainly benefits from the boost. The animations and tiles flow super smoothly, apps open really quickly, and they resume just as fast as really any Lumia devices. With Windows Phone's multitasking functionality, you're able to switch apps without really much slowdown at all, making the whole thing feel really, really fluid and complete. I'd say better than most Windows Phone handsets out there. For the most part though, Windows Phone 8 on the icon is just like using it on the 1020 or the 1520 with the same ecosystem and familiar limitations. There's some big app stalwarts now available for Windows Phone. However, but there are also still some notable absences as well, and that matters to a lot of consumers. Sure, Windows Phone now has Instagram, but none of Google's official apps are available, and you still won't be able to find the latest app craze hiding in Windows Phone Marketplace. Apple's iOS is still the mobile kingdom to beat. Windows Phone might get there eventually, but the canyon between Windows Phone compared to iOS and Android is still very large. Not even Evel Knievel or his crazy son Robbie is going to think about jumping it. But some of that slack is made up by Nokia's ridiculously awesome ecosystem of camera apps, including Nokia Camera, Nokia Cinematograph, and Nokia Refocuses, which are designed to give you more control over the shooting experience. So while the icon doesn't quite have the ridiculously awesome 41 megapixel sensor stuffed in Lumia 1020, it still sports a respectable 20 megapixel rear camera. The results produced by the icon are pretty nice in low light and in everyday situations, and the inclusion of optical image stabilization definitely makes a difference. The icon's pictures, like all Lumia handsets, still have a tendency to be slightly muted and perhaps not as sharp or eye-popping as other camera phones out there, but they still by no means look bad. Brandon goes into much more detail on the camera and includes an extensive photo library over on the written review. Again, links in right down below. One big thing Nokia stressed when the icon was announced and in other Lumias was its auto-matched audio recording. The device, according to Nokia, comes equipped with 4 digital high dynamic range microphones, which allows the icon to capture 6 times the sound pressure level of a conventional smartphone microphone without any discernible distortion. Thanks to pretty special Nokia algorithms, the combination from the 4 digital microphones allow for the most high-quality stereo recording, while it can pinpoint a specific sound even in really loud situations. So that's a lot of tech talk, but from my experience, the Icon's audio performance seems to be a step above the competition. Audio capture and recording sounded way better from the competition and head over heels better than what you'd expect from a comparable smartphone. As you can probably expect, performance-wise, the Icon is top-notch and powers through Windows Phone 8 without any single issue at all. It's really no surprise, given that the device supports a pretty beastly Snapdragon 800 chip. Even with a more powerful processor and high-resolution display, the Icon's battery actually holds up really well, surprisingly well. I'd say you'll have no problem getting through a full day. Through my typical use, I ended the day with around 40% left, and that's with email pulling down, a lot of social networking, watching videos, playing games, hour and a half of phone calls, so you'll have no problem at all. So combine all that with the Icon's camera chops and audio experience, and you're looking at probably the best Lumia device out there. We take a quick minute to thank our friends and sponsors at lynda.com. Lynda.com offers thousands of engaging, easy-to-follow video tutorials, top industry experts to help you learn the software and creative and business skills you need to be successful in life. Membership starts at just $25 per month, provides unlimited 24/7 access so you can learn anytime you want at your own pace from either bite-sized tutorials or comprehensive courses, really ranging in anything that you want to know. Things like web design if you want, programming, photography, business, audio and video, 3D animation, and just a ton of more. You can watch all this stuff anywhere you are with your phone or tablet, so you can play it really anywhere you want. You can try lynda.com free for 7 days by visiting lynda.com/technobuffalo. Again, that's lynda.com/technobuffalo. Back to the review. So what's the final verdict on the Lumia Icon? As you can tell, I really like the phone. The hardware is absolutely incredible. The experience is awesome. The typical knocks on a Windows Phone are still there, and it really comes down to apps. Although if you rely on sort of the core apps, if you're looking for a YouTube application that works, you're looking for an Instagram experience and a Twitter app, you're going to be pretty much okay. If you like to venture sort of out a little more, you're going to find the waters to be a little bit shallow, but that is improving day by day. This is a really enjoyable phone to use, coupled with Verizon's awesome service in Southern California. I really like the phone. I could see myself switching back to Windows Phone to use this. The real potential, again, will probably be unlocked once we see Windows Phone 8.1, but for right now, as it stands, this is the best Windows Phone out there and it gets a really solid 8.5. So what do you guys think? Do you agree or disagree? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the review. Anything in particular you guys want to know about it, leave it all in the comments right down below. Please give the video a thumbs up. We always appreciate it. And of course, check out technobuffalo.com for the latest and greatest tech news. Until then, I'm John Rettinger. See you guys next video. What's up, everyone? Thank you for watching that video. If you want to see more of the latest and greatest tech news, you can subscribe to our main Techno Buffalo channel by clicking the button right down below in my pants region, or click on the buttons to your right to see more videos.